Hi everyone, welcome to our first quarter town hall forum. I'm sorry, I was speaking quickly, combined 7 words into one. Our first quarter town hall forum. Now this is actually a tradition that we've done here in our Parma City Schools since I started. So we've been doing town halls since the summer of 2018. Started out with a number of them then. We have always committed to doing one per quarter, and if there is something going on, a bond issue, building our future, anything that might be of more interest, then we increase the number. But we always commit to at least one town hall per quarter. And this is the first quarter town hall. So our district goals, we always focus on these 3. This is very consistent throughout our district. All of our principals know this, our teachers know this, hopefully our students even know it. We use them at parent meetings, anything that you really attend. We start out with increasing student achievement will always be our first goal. Obviously, that's what school districts exist to do. Make sure that students leave us higher from an opportunity standpoint than they may have come to us from. Improve transparency throughout our communities, that's important as well. And again, that's part of what we're doing tonight. We use Facebook for this. It's also open live. Thank you, Mr. Hausman, for attending. But anyone on Facebook is welcome to submit comments. We will answer those questions when we come to the end. And then finally, practice fiscal responsibility. So in Parma, we've always known that we have to make sure we are great stewards of tax dollars, that we're very transparent in how we spend them, and that we really try to procrastinate or push that operating levy off as far as we possibly can. We recently we always started with increasing student achievement, which is our first goal. So we did receive our report card from the state of Ohio recently, and in that had some strengths that we're very proud of, some concerns that emerged that we want to make sure that we address and improve upon, and an awful lot of data. If you open the state report card, it can be overwhelming in terms of the amount of data you get, not just from a district perspective, but from a school perspective as well. We do want to show you some highlights and some points that emerged for our district. This one was very interesting to us. Now, 3.5 stars was our overall rating. We were 0.125 away from being a 4-star district. So we have asked everybody really to commit just even to marginal incremental improvements, and that should be able to get us to a 4-star district. Our goal certainly for next year is to have 4 stars. We were 3.5 stars this year. The columns on the left of the screen are obviously very intricate computations. If you ever want, I can go through these on 101 in my office. We don't typically delve too deeply into the depth of data that is available, but we do want to show you how close we were to 4 stars. And so that is incumbent upon all of us to take that next step forward in increasing student achievement and make us a 4-star district. Stars instead of grades. I was at a council meeting recently and they said, so what do these stars mean? They mean like a grade, right? Like 3 means C, and it's not hard to draw that parallel, but the state does have a very clear mechanism and clear definition for all star grades. So 5 stars says you are significantly exceeding state standards. 4 stars says that you are exceeding state standards. 3 stars means meet state standards. So again, as a district, we were right between meeting and exceeding state standards, which we think is a strength. 2 stars would be needing support to meet state standards, and then 1 star needs significant support to meet state standards. We did not have any areas in which we were a 1 star. We did have several that were 2 stars. We'll show you that on the next. This was our overall district performance. Achievement was 3, which again, if you look back to the last slide, would say in achievement we are meeting state standards. Progress was 4, which means we were exceeding state standards. Progress essentially means our students coming to us and making at least 1 year's growth. So regardless of whether or not they pass the test, the state actually measures, even if you're a little bit short in the 4th grade, are you coming up a little bit short in the 5th grade too? That's actually 1 year's worth of growth. And I'm certainly simplifying things, but that's a good way to look at it. And so our students are growing in our classrooms. Gap closing, which is, again, sort of a confusing compilation of statistics, but essentially what the state has done is said that everybody should reach proficient by 2031. It might have been 2030. But they recognize that different subgroups, so you could look at students with disabilities, you could look at students from a disadvantaged socioeconomic standpoint, you could look at African American students, you could look at EL students, or English learner students. And they say that given some of the parameters and some of the characteristics of those groups, the path is different. The starting place also to get to that proficient rate is different. And so they give different subgroups, different specific indicators that they want you to accomplish. We accomplished a 5-star rating, and that's a very distinctive rating, 5-star against this, significantly exceeding state standards. And what that means is we're closing the gap. All of our subgroups are progressing in a very impressive way in their achievement. Graduation was a weakness. We don't hide from our weaknesses. We talk about them and we make plans to improve upon them. We won't get too far into those plans today, but our district leadership team works with all of our principals and teacher representatives. And then at each building, we actually have building leadership teams as well that look specifically at the building data and make plans to improve. Early literacy was a weakness as well with 2 stars. We're not satisfied with that. There's 2 really indicators there. One is how many students are passing that 3rd grade English language arts assessment. But then beyond that, how many students are starting off track, and by the end of a year, we're making sure that they're on track and meeting grade level benchmarks. 2 stars is not satisfactory. We're not happy with that, and so that is also a very critical area that our schools examine and plan for improvement. On the right-hand side of the screen there, just to give you some comparison, how are we doing compared to years past? Compared to last year, we moved 1 star. So overall, had not been rated, progress stayed the same, and gap closing, we picked up a star. So overall, our report card improved. Graduation, same, early literacy, same, and then we're really excited for this college, career, workforce, and military readiness aspect. We had not had a grade in that yet. We're excited to have a grade soon. I think that's coming in actually 2025. So we believe, and we'll show you our career tech data in just a few slides, we do this extremely well. We prepare students for their future in a very positive way. We just are not getting rated for that yet. People sort of say, okay, that's great, that's your Parma report card, how does that compare? You know, and that's an important part too. So the state of Ohio takes a look at a lot of different variables, and they come up with each district's 20 comparable districts. And essentially what they look at, again, they look at race, they look at socioeconomic demographics, they look at size of the district, and they're trying to say, are there other districts in the state of Ohio that are comparable to yours? And they come up with the 20 that are most comparable, and they put you into that comparable comparison. The ones in the area that I think you would be able to relate to, there's a lot in Columbus, even Cincinnati area, but the ones you would be able to relate to, Mentor's are comparable, Willoughby Eastlake's are comparable, North Olmsted, Berea, and Amherst. All those are comparable districts. So how did we do, relative to our comparable districts? Overall, we flat out beat 6 of them, meaning our 3.5 stars was higher than 6 other districts. We tied 5, and then we were behind 9. So that means 9 districts had 4 stars or 5 stars on their report cards. So certainly that's, we want to catch those 9. We want to improve upon our stars. From an achievement standpoint, we won 4, meaning we beat 4. Again, we had 3 stars in achievement. That was higher than 4 of our comparables. We tied 10 of them, and then we lost 6 of those. And again, so that means 6 of them had either 3.5 or 4 or 4.5 or 5. In progress, and no surprise, we were very high in this. We had 12 of them where we actually were higher than them. That doesn't add up, so somehow the numbers got changed. Okay. Early literacy, again, we fall behind. This is one of our weaknesses. We've acknowledged it. We have plans to improve. We did not have a higher grade in literacy than any of our comparables. We had 6 of them were the same, and then 14 we were behind. Gap closing, again, it was a strength for us. So 12 areas in which we won. We tied 8, or again, tied 8 comparables, other districts. Graduation, again, a weakness, so that's where we fall behind. So that just gives you, some feel for where we stand. We're certainly ahead of some, we're right with some, and then we're behind some. That's essentially what that's showing in the comparables. We would really be incomplete without showing this. Our Career Tech program, with the leadership of Ms. Kristen Plageman, is really one of our strengths. If you have a child in a Career Tech pathway, you already know this. It is really a source of pride in our district. We, again, receive grades in each of these. The post-program outcomes, the component rating being a 5, is really something that we're thrilled with. And so essentially what that means is 6 months after graduation, and we actually measure this through follow-up surveys, students are enrolled in an apprenticeship, military, employment, or post-secondary or advanced training center. It also weighs, is there an industry credential? So we've always tried to say, our vision is this. When you come out of our Parma City schools, either you're going to have hours for whatever you're going to do in post-secondary enrollment, so you're having college credit plus hours, or you have an AP score that's going to qualify, or you have some type of industrial certification. And what that's showing is that our students do a phenomenal job, and our teachers do a phenomenal job of getting our students to be able to obtain these career credentials while they're in high school. And again, that's free, and so that's a great advantage. From a practice fiscal responsibility standpoint, we can certainly take questions as we get to the end here on any of these, but our consolidation, while it certainly is popular or less popular in certain areas, the point of consolidation, friends, was to make sure that we could save money. We know that we had 15 campuses. 15 was too many. We cut 15 to 12 campuses, and that's resulted in approximately $3.1 million per year in operations savings. The whole goal, we always say this, there's 3 nuclear options in education. Number 1 is you jack your class size up, beyond 28, 30. Right now, we really sit lower elementaries, 21s, 22s, and we get into 24s and 25s, even by the high schools. We're really, for the most part, capping at 28. I'm not saying that's 100% true, but for the most part, we're able to keep it really in those high 20s as a cap. We don't ever want to get to the standpoint where we have to reduce staffing and we're looking at 35 kids in a class. That's your first nuclear option. Second nuclear option is pay for play rates that are exorbitant. You always want to make sure that you are able to offer all of your opportunities to all of your students, regardless of their socioeconomic backgrounds. So if you can't pay $800 to play football, guess what? It's not a problem right now. We never want to get to that problem where it is, where we have haves and have-nots, because some kids can afford to do different activities and other kids can't. And so that's our second nuclear option. The third is a shortened day for high school students. And many can tell a story about experiencing our schools and actually having to live through that. We always want to make sure that we can offer a full day of education, free education to our students. When you get into a budget cutting situation, you can get to a standpoint where we're going to offer 5 classes and kids are going to go home. And we certainly don't want to have to do that. So while consolidation was not popular, we understood that, but we had to make difficult decisions. We closed, obviously, Parma Senior High, Renwood, and then we repurposed Parma Park for some specialty programs, as well as central office location. Parkview at this point has already been demolished. If you haven't been down 54th, it is a pile of rubble at this point. Parma Senior High is next. We actually forecast knocking the tower down the week of November 13th. We will make sure that that is widely available on social media, that people understand that. We understand that's an emotional issue, and folks might want to watch that or record that, so we will make sure that we publicize that. Again, none of these were first options, right? But they are the options that we had to pursue to make sure that we could push off that operating levy as far as we could. We have issue 12 on the ballot. Issue 12 is a straight renewal. We've seen different questions, and folks have said ballot language is confusing. It says 2 times in the first 6 lines, it either says renewal or renewing. So please understand that this is renewal. It is not a new tax. It is not a tax increase. What we did was to try to get off the ballot as often as we are. We have 2 expiring emergency levies, one in 2024, one in 2027, so that we aren't coming back over and over and over, and you're not seeing Parma City Schools on that ballot constantly. We shave that and put that into one bond, not one bond, but one renewal issue, and that's issue 12 that's on the ballot right now. It is $15.7 million per year, which is clearly extremely significant percentage of our budget. We certainly cannot afford to lose that $15.7 million. We are optimistic. Our record in renewals has been perfect since I've been here. We've had 2 since we've started. We do have a mailing coming out to explain that this is not a new tax. This is not a new increase. Issue 12 is a straight renewal, and it actually combines 2 issues so that we don't have to be on the ballot again in 24 and 27. Staffing improvements. We actually, first I want to acknowledge this. None of us would say that transportation has been a strength at the beginning of the school year. We all know, that there have been concerns about tardiness, or folks thought they were supposed to get a bus and didn't get a bus, and we wanted space available and we weren't able to grant that. So none of us would concede that as a strength. However, a lot of those issues are actually how we've worked through issues like traffic at our schools. It's difficult to predict exactly how many kids we're going to be coming via car, and so we've adjusted that, and for the most part, I think we have really met our goals in terms of getting students to school on time. Please, if you are unhappy with your transportation situation, we still are troubleshooting those things. You can email me, you can email Dr. Carl Schneider, Ms. Corky Malika over at transportation, and we can work on those things. But I do have to say that we are one of the very few school districts who actually added transportation despite the fact that we have such a driver shortage, not in Parma, not in Ohio, but throughout the country. You can drive to really any school district and you'll see, hiring bus drivers now. So we were able to creatively work with our unions to have some hiring incentives for bus drivers specifically. And we do have a functional transportation department as a result. We would love some more. We have more drivers in training as we speak, and we're hopeful that they will pass their tests and be added to our fleet. But again, to be able to say that we added high school busing in the year 2023, if you talk about that amongst your friends in other school districts, I think you're going to get sort of a quizzical look, because most places are reducing to state minimums. We knew when we closed Parma Senior High that we had to make sure that we had transportation available for our northern kids. Thinking that Valley Forge and Normandy were going to be walkable distances, or just, hey, you're on your own to find a ride, it would be too difficult of a proposition. We made that commitment to the community, and we have delivered on that commitment to the community. And we feel that high school busing especially is going well. Again, if you're unsatisfied, please do not be shy. Reach out, and we'll do everything we can to troubleshoot for you. Finally, transparency in our communities. This is, again, the continuation of the Town Hall series. We will always do this once a quarter. If there are other issues that come to mind, we're certainly able to incorporate other Town Hall meetings as well. We do have them already planned for December 5th, February 6th, and April 23rd. We'll make sure to publicize those early and often. Those are actually at libraries. We were not able to get a library for tonight, so we're from our board office. Another way we are working at transparency, we did a parent survey, and it was really just 3 easy questions at the beginning, not easy, but 3 pretty clear, simple questions, I should say. And then we wanted to hear from you. And some parents even said you didn't ask enough questions. Our point was we wanted to hear your specific thoughts, actually. So we'll talk about this at the board meeting when we present the results. We wanted our top questions to be pretty general, because then the writing was able to be very specific. And so that was how we really were able to glean some results. So we'll talk about those at October 26th. And then the last piece that I want to stress, we sort of held off on this because we didn't want to make this look like a kind of a political stunt or anything like this. But now that Parma Senior High's last days are clearly imminent, I mentioned the tower earlier, we are going to have one last hooray for the red and gray. This will be November 28th at Holy Spirit, actually, on 54th. At 6 p.m., it's a formal event. There's dinner served, there's a cash bar. There is a cost to this. It's $25 per attendee. We hope that we will certainly sell out. We're having sort of a recognition of the pride and legacy of Parma Senior High, and a lot of what really characterized really an iconic piece of our community. So that's the goal of what we aim to accomplish and capture on November 28th. You can call 440-885-8305 for tickets. Again, we will also publicize this on social media. But we're really hopeful that for one last time we can have really a very appropriate, very formal, very celebratory event to recognize all that Parma Senior High offered to our community and to our students. So with that, are there any questions on Facebook? There do not appear to be any questions on Facebook. Mr. Hausman, do you have any questions? Okay, well, thank you for your time. If you're seeing this later, very happy that you're able to dedicate what looks to be about 19 minutes at this point to learn more about our Parma City Schools. If you have questions, certainly email me, smilexc@parmacityschools.org. Find me pretty easily on the website as well. Always committed to improving transparency, and thank you for joining us today at our first quarter